So if I had to give this chapter a title, it would be The Road to Recovery, Life After the Narcissist. And if you did not watch my first two videos, Sleeping with the Enemy, I want you to go back and I want you to watch those. But if you made it here to this video, we're going to talk about the what's next. And if you have ever dealt with a narcissist, you know that when that experience is over, you need to heal and recover. And I want to talk a little bit today about some things that I did to help me to start to feel and look like myself again, because so much about me had changed during my marriage to the ex-narcissist. Now I'm going to say ladies, and let me even say something before I just address the ladies, because I've noticed we've had some men in the comments, which is nothing wrong with that, because if you notice in either of my videos prior to this one, I never specified a gender for who could be a narcissist. However, some men, I'm guessing because so many women chimed in and shared their experience regarding a relationship with a narcissist man, I'm guessing that made some of the men feel some kind of way, which I always find is kind of sad, because here's the thing. If you decide to watch a video being told from a woman's perspective, a woman is telling her story about a bad experience that happens to have happened with a man, and other women chime in and begin to share their bad experiences that also happened with men, that doesn't mean that the women are ganging up and calling all men narcissists. So to take it that way, I would just wonder why. But we're not even going to go into the why, because that's not even the point of the video. The point of the video is to let people in general know narcissistic relationships can drain you in every which way. They are not healthy. They are not happy relationships. And if you decide to make your exit, there are things you need to take into consideration. And I myself personally know women that are narcissists. So before any person of any gender gets to feeling any kind of way, just ask yourself, why does it make you feel some type of not so good way that women are speaking up about their experience with narcissistic men? But what I like to do here on this channel is look at the what's next, because having the test and then having the testimony, those are related things that can lead us to the next thing. And I'm all about progress here. And ladies, my life after my relationship with the narcissist, it started with me taking some steps to get myself back to the woman that I once knew. And the first thing, I realized I didn't even look like myself anymore. I had gained a lot of weight. I did not feel good from having that extra weight. I couldn't fit some of the clothes that I used to like. And that right there took a toll on my self-esteem. And then I'm going to say another thing. Aside from the aesthetic portion of it, the way I looked, I did not feel well from adding that extra weight. Simple things like walking up and down the stairs used to drain me. I was breathing heavy. And I just said, you know what? Nothing else is going to matter if my health is not good. That was actually the first thing that was at the top of my list. I wanted to look like myself again. So I started working out, and I'm going to say the truth. I am not a gym girly. You will not catch me going to the gym faithfully, but what I did do, I got some home equipment. And some of it was gifted to me from different companies, and I'm going to talk about that in some other videos. But some things I purchased, and a few things that I used and still use that really, really helped. The first thing was my walking pad. I keep it right in my room, under the couch in my room, so literally I don't have an excuse. I can roll out of bed, pull it out, walk for about 30 minutes and push it back under there. I also got a squat machine, and ladies, you know about your squats. You want to get it right. You want to keep it tight. And I got an ab machine as well. Am I suggesting that you get all of this stuff? No, but what I am suggesting is, if you know that you don't look and feel like you used to feel, these are things that you could potentially try. And I do have some of the things in my Amazon showcase. If you click that link in my bio, you can check them out. But ladies, just get up, get moving. When I first started, some days I didn't feel like 30 minutes. I'm going to be honest. And I know some people might be like, well, geez, it's only 30 minutes. When your mind ain't the best and you tired and you went extended periods of time with just no real physical activity, 30 minutes can seem long. So start with what you can do and work your way up as you see fit. Another thing that I did was intermittent fasting. And I noticed that I would just be eating at random times of the day and nighttime, and it mostly would be from maybe boredom, stress, or just something to take my mind off of things. So with the intermittent fasting, I literally gave myself a time to start eating and then a time to stop. So initially I started eating at about 12 noon each day, and by 8 p.m. I was done. Now, if you decide to do intermittent fasting, do your research, talk to your doctor, make sure it works good for you. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't talk to my doctor, I just jumped on in, but I did what I could do. If you can't go a certain amount of hours, do what you can do. And you're gonna hear a common theme in this video being, do what you can do. The goal is going to be do something. Times when I would do my exercise, especially when I was at home, because sometimes I did still go out and go for walks. But when I was at home, sometimes I would play my Audible books on my television, or I would listen to my headphones. And I have a few different titles in my Amazon storefront as well of books that I read and started to listen to. And I made sure sometimes that I did not listen to things that would make me sad about what had already happened. But instead, I started to listen to books that took me to the next parts of my journey, which was getting my finances in order, saving money, learning different strategies and different tools to build wealth. I started working on the life that I envisioned myself having, and I tried as best as possible not to stay stuck in the experience that I already had. So ladies, I'm going to encourage you to do the same. The next thing I did, and a couple of ladies commented and said, oh, your hair is really pretty. I'm going to say, ladies, most of my life I have had what I consider pretty healthy hair. I'm gonna find some pictures and show y'all. I don't even know what was happening, if it was the stress or what it was. My hair has started to fall out. It was breaking off so bad, and it was just really, really unhealthy. So I started even more studying things to help my hair become healthy again. And I'll make a whole separate video about that. My skin, everything just looked different. So I focused on my physical health, my mental health, my hair, my skincare, and my spiritual well-being as well. If you go to church, ladies, go to church. If you listen to the word from home, listen from home. Just get that word in you and then focus on what's next to come. Because the main thing is gonna be getting up out of that funk. And I've read a couple of comments from the ladies, and they're saying, even when I got out of it, I'm still struggling with some things mentally. I'm still struggling with some things financially. I'm still struggling with some things emotionally. Ladies, sometimes it's gonna be a challenge, but you're gonna have to push through. And if you made it this far, that situation, it wasn't the end for you. So do what you need to do. I'm going to talk more in another video about some things that you can start doing to help generate more money. Because ladies, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes we find ourselves staying longer in situations that we know are not for us, because the finances are not what they need to be. And there are so many things that you can do to help generate additional income. But I'm gonna tell y'all a specific prayer that I had started praying some years ago. And I started asking God, let my gifts make room for me, because that's literally his word. Figure out what your gifts are and then figure out how they can become lucrative, okay? And like I said, we're gonna talk about that in another video, because when I talk about getting your finances in order, making more money, having multiple streams of income, I'm never talking about stressing yourself out and going and working from sun up to sundown. I'm never suggesting that, because that kind of stress can also take its toll on you. But if we start to really look at some of our natural gifts and our natural talents, the things that we do well with no additional training, those are the things that I'm going to be encouraging you to start looking into, ladies. And like I said, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And me, I don't like to overwhelm anyone with too much information at one time. So we're going to go back and we're going to reprocess what I just said. If, ladies, you let yourself slip into a stage of, I do not look like I want to look, I do not feel like I want to feel, I gained some weight, and now for a variety of different reasons, I do not feel good about that, you're going to make a plan and you're going to get moving. And the plan to start is not going to be long and elaborate, because sometimes we get what they call at my office analysis paralysis, where we overthink things and that leads us to doing nothing. If you're going to do 10 minutes a day, do your 10 minutes a day. If you're going to do 30 minutes every other day, do your 30 minutes every other day. And this is exercise I'm talking about. Where am I going to do it at? Am I going outside to walk? Am I going to the gym? Or am I going to invest in a couple of pieces of home workout equipment and get up and get moving? Do something, pick something, and get moving, okay? What am I going to start listening to help me get my mind right again? And let me also mention, if you need therapy, go to therapy. I have gone to therapy a few times in my life. I'll never be embarrassed to say that, because therapy can help you. It can help you in ways that you may not be able to help yourself. If therapy is not your thing and you'd rather talk to somebody, pick who you can talk to and talk, because sometimes just getting it out of your system can help. If you are a journal girly, you write about it, but you pick that thing and then you start to do it, ladies, okay? That's the main thing. What am I gonna do and when am I gonna start? And we're not gonna delay our starting. Do what you can when you can. So those are the two things that I focused on. First, getting my physical health and my weight back in order, and also listening to audible books that help me to refocus my mind. If you like to physically read the book, then you buy the book. What I'm saying is, you do what's best for you. Like I said, I do have some of the equipment in my Amazon showcase if you want to check out some of the things that I said that I use at home, or pick out what you like. If you already got some equipment, don't go wasting money. Use what you have and get started doing what you can do. Because what I know to be true for myself, when I look better, I feel better. And the more I started to look like the woman that I knew again, the more I started to become her again. So ladies, I hope the information that I have shared thus far is going to be useful and helpful for someone. If you have a question about something that I did not address, and let me tell you, I'm not a licensed therapist, I'm not a fitness coach, I'm not any of those things. I'm telling you what worked for me to help me get through this experience, and I'm just suggesting that it could possibly work for you as well. But if you have questions, ask me, because I'm gonna say this again, ladies, I'm not embarrassed about my experiences, because I have learned, in particular over the years, everyone goes through something. Some people just never share it. Some people suffer in silence. Some people sweep it under the rug. However you choose to deal with it, that is your business, because we all have to deal with our lives how we see fit. However, I know personally that I did not get through all of these tests just to keep my testimony to myself. So there are going to be a lot of things that I'm going to continue to share. But in the meantime, ladies, we're going to get up, We're going to get moving. We're going to start listening to some things to help shift our mind and our mindset from what was to what is still to come and what's still possible. Stay tuned, ladies, because I'm going to be posting the next part to this series in just a few days.